Hi, welcome back to AutoReview. My name is Patrick and today I'm presenting you the 2019 Citroen Berlingo. We have the Berlingo in different trim levels. So we have here the highest, which is the Shine. We have different sizes. We have the smaller one, the M, with 4.40 m length. There's a bigger one, the XL, with 4.75 m length. Both you can configure with 5 seats, as we have here always 7 seats in the M and as well as in the XL. We have here the biggest engine, the 130 horsepower diesel engine, 1.5 liter. And we have the start-stop system on board. Before we get to the car, thank you very much for joining in. If you're interested in cars, motorcycles or scooter reviews, please hit the subscribe button, activate the bell icon, and thank you very much to Garage BlueHDi AG in Ringeberg, who were so kind to give me this car so I could show it to you. Now, coming back to the Berlingo. So we have here, as I mentioned, the biggest engine. It's a 1.5 liter diesel producing 130 horsepower at 3,750 RPM. A maximum torque of 300 Newton meters at 1,750 RPM. So really low in the ref range, which is great. We have a top speed of 185 kilometers per hour and a 0 to 100 time in 10.3 seconds. With a fuel tank capacity of 50 liters and a fuel consumption I tested between 4.2 liters to 4.8 liters, you should get at least 1,050 kilometers out of this tank. CO2 emissions are 116 grams per kilometer. We have here the Euro 6D temp. Exhaust emission standard, which is the best at the moment you can get, so you should be safe to go into any European city so far. And good thing about the Berlingo as well is we have a 30,000 kilometer or 1 year service interval, which is great. So if you're someone who drives a lot, this is gonna help you out. Now, before we get into the car, you've seen it already from the outside. I'll show you as usual the first row, second row. In this case, we have no third row, but as I mentioned, you can get it. The boot space, and then as usual, we'll drive. So enjoy, have fun, and thanks for watching. Sorry, as usual, I always forget something. Prices for the Berlingo start at 23,900 Swiss francs. The car, as we have here, equipped with a head-up display, reverse camera, start-stop system, and a few gimmicks, would set you back 39,430 Swiss francs. Now, without further ado, let's hop into the car. Okay, coming into the Berlingo from inside, and we have here pretty much everything on board that you can order, I would say. But as usual, we start from left to right. So we have electric windows on all 4 seats with one touch function, which is great. However, in the back you see the windows don't shut all the way to the bottom. We have electric windows, adjustable, heated obviously with the blind spot assist in this case. We have door bins, which are okay. They fit bigger bottles, however you have to squeeze them a little bit in. Would have been nicer if they would have actually a little bit bigger pocket in the front to actually fit the bottles easier. We have a cup holder on the left and right above the air ventilation, which is great, I love that. We have another storage compartment behind the navigation screen. We have one compartment which is here when you open it with a CD changer, as well as USB and aux in, which is kind of a hidden one. And from a design point of view, obviously looks very nice with this kind of supposed to be leather strap, which isn't leather strap. Then a little compartment here, another glove box on the bottom, which isn't too big. Then here we have some space to put, for example, coins. We have here some storage where you can actually charge your phone wirelessly, which is great. And that's for storage so far. Then we can adjust the lights. Obviously, one negative point right away in the beginning is this car only comes with halogen lights, which in my opinion for 2019 is a big no-go. I'm actually totally against this, and I hope it's going to be changing soon, but it's what it is. And even if you would like to pay more money, it's not available. Then we have a head-up display, which is great. It actually goes up and down every time you turn off and on the car. I haven't found it in the menu and a sub-menu that you can keep it up, because I'm not quite sure how long something like this lasts. Up and down, up and down, up and down, right? You can adjust it, bring it up and down manually as well. And you can adjust, obviously, the height, depends on how high you sit. Then on the bottom, we have a start-stop on and off. We have a child lock to lock the doors in the back. And we have the lane departure assistant, which is an active one that brings you back in the lane. Then steering wheel, let me see, you can adjust it in reach and rake, which is great, so you should be able to find a good position. Seat is adjustable in height as well, obviously. We have an armrest separate for driver and passenger. Steering wheel is leather wrapped with the stitching here. It's nice, it's multifunctional. Obviously we have voice recognition going through the system here. Volume button for up and down. On the right again to go through the screen here, mostly for the radio. list and source, as well as telephone button, cruise control and speed limiter. We have on the left a little knob below the blinker, and on the right obviously we have the wiper. Then we have auto headlights, which is great, so you don't have to worry about it. I like that. Then we have an 8-in navigation screen or multimedia screen with shortcut buttons, which are touch sensitive fields, but they do work okay. Not super fast, but once you press it actually works, and you can go through. What I do like is we have a physical rocker for the volume. I really love that. We have one USB port here, as I mentioned, another one in there. Then hazard lights and to lock the doors. We have the 2-zone air conditioning on the bottom with the function that you can sync it, obviously. Start-stop button, electronic parking brake, which engages or disengages when you actually start moving. 6-speed manual gearbox, as I mentioned. In this car, you start with the smallest engine with a 5-speed, and you can opt for an 8-speed automatic gearbox with kind of a knob here. Then ESP on and off. And that's pretty much it here. Then we have a huge center console, which is another negative point I have, is because it's a little bit too far into the left, into the driver's seat. So I wish it would be a little bit more, well, slimmer or more to the right, so I could have some more space for my knee. On the bottom we have a 12-volt power socket, and in this one optional we have a 230-volt house plug, which is great. Then on the top we have obviously the mirror, which dims itself. Then we have a second smaller mirror for kids, so you can see this is really made towards active, outgoing person or someone who has a family, so you can watch your children even though you have a traffic with a separate mirror. Then we can see if everyone is buckled up, which is great. Then light, we have an on-call SOS button, then button here to open actually the sunshade, which I'm gonna leave now because it's gonna get too hot. You can open it all the way until the back. One thing I really like is this overhead compartment here, which is divided with subdividers. You can actually see if there's something there because it's kind of a plexiglass here, as well as here in the front. However, if you put something here, make sure it is not too small that it will fall out here, so you can actually see that you have something here. I really like this, which is great. And actually it's even better in the back, which I'm going to show you when we go to the rear seats. Then sunshade, which is illuminated with 2 lights on the right with a mirror for the driver and one without a mirror for the passenger. That's it. What I really like as well, I mentioned, is you have the wireless charging. It has a really nice symbol here, so you can see directly if it's charging or not. Now, one thing that I dislike is actually, well, it has a lot of space here. We can put a bag or something, but it's kind of unused space, so big here. They could have made some kind of center console which you can actually lock, or maybe even have a cool box or something built in, so you can have cool drinks if you go with the family for a longer drive. That would have been really great. Other than that, design-wise, it's pretty nice. Obviously, Citroen is one of the car manufacturers that is a bit more brave when it comes to design. This one is the XTR pack, design pack. You can see different colors in the seats here: orange, gray, black, kind of green, white. And we have this green parts here in the dashboard as well as in the door. One criticizing point would be as well, obviously, everything is pretty much hard plastic here. There's no soft touch whatsoever. Here a little bit material, obviously the seat for the armrest and the leather steering wheel, but that's pretty much it. So without further ado, let's check the second row. All right, so second row in the Berlingo, and obviously we have tons of headroom, so you can be easily more than 2 meters tall to sit here. Seat in front is adjusted to me. I'm 1.84 meter tall, so as I mentioned, you can fit here. Then we have the sliding doors, which is great. I do love that there are sliding doors. And we have the electric window button here, and you can see we have inbuilt sunshades, which is a great thing. I really love that. Obviously we have the hooks here, however you have to be a bit careful that you don't break them off at one point. And obviously, as I mentioned already in the front, the door doesn't shut all the way, but the one-touch function, which is great. Obviously, to open the door, here's to close the door. Then we have very little bins in the back, not even worth mentioning, and very little space to actually put the arm. So you're a little bit cramped when it comes to this. Maybe it's easier to drive this way, not sure. Then we have these tray tables, which are kind of something in the airplane. However, you can see they are, well, I'm not quite understand why they fall down to the bottom and not fold from the top down, because obviously what can you post here? I mean, maybe put an iPad here, but I don't know. And the cup holder, or basically a cup hole, which only works for coffee cups maybe. Then seats are individual, 3 individual seats with all Isofix. So you might actually fit 3 baby seats here, depends on the size of your seats. And one great point is as well, if you actually unlock this one here, you have the belt for the middle passenger there. And when you put the headrest down, you can pull this lever here and you can fold this one flat, so you can actually put something through. Another great thing is, let me just bring this up again, and I have to go to this side, is this. I can make it very, very comfortable. If, for example, you have someone picking up who broke his leg, you can stretch here, or it's like a huge limousine, which is really awesome. I'm actually going to show you in a moment again. Obviously, you can fold down all individual seats. Now, what I liked as well is this storage compartment here on top. As I mentioned, you can put small items here. We have reading lights, which is great. And I like as well this compartment, which is above the boot, which you can reach from here. So from this side or from that side, it's a little bit rough, it's not so easy. And you can actually reach it from the back as well, which I'm going to show you in a moment. As I mentioned, seatbelt for the middle passenger is here. And that's it for second row. Let's check the boot. Right, coming back to the back of the car, or to the rear of the car. So obviously it's pretty tall. As you can see, it's a little bit taller than me. We have the railing on top where you can put a roof box if you want to. However, then you have to be careful with the garages and, well, yeah, if you go anywhere under it. What I like is very clean look. We have this vertical lights, rear lights with the red and white only, parking sensors in the bumper. And actually it's a good thing the bumper here is just not painted, it's black. As well as we have this air bumps here, which is the Citroen thing, with a little bit coal in the front as well as in the front bumper. So obviously if you're gonna hit something or someone gonna scratch your car, it's gonna be cheaper to replace this rather than painting the whole bumper. Now, one thing I really like about the Berlingo is we have here an array of openings, and if you do it on the side, you can open actually the rear window separately from the tailgate, so you don't have to open the full gate. You have a floor which you can put actually in 2 levels, which is great, so you can put smaller item here if you have it in the lower position. And obviously if you want to open the full boot, then you open it in the middle and the entire tailgate opens. And it's tall enough for me to stand here, so if you want to do a picnic, you can actually do that here without getting really wet. Maybe you can put something here. As I mentioned, I guess it might become very popular if you transform this into like a small camping vehicle. Then you have this floor, which I mentioned in this position. Now I can take it up and bring it up a level. And then I have it basically here covering everything. We have 2 cup holders. As you can see, it's prepared for being a 7-seater on the left and right, as well as a 12-volt power socket over there. And a little compartment here on the right as well. The boot is fixed, there's nothing you can do. We have hooks here, left and right. And it says you can load this floor up to 25 kilograms or 55 pounds, which is great. A little light on the left. And what I mentioned as well, when you open this one here, this is the box that you can reach from the back side. Up to 10 kg or 22 pounds you can put in here. I really like the versatility of this boot and the car so far. So let's hop on the road to drive, and I tell you what it is, or how it is to drive it, and what I think about it. Let's go. Okay, so what do you think about the Berlingo? I do like the car, actually. We drove it around 495 kilometers over the last 3 days, and it's actually very comfortable to have, I have to say. They have this advanced comfort system, which Citroen says. It's basically very comfortable to ride or to drive. Engine, I don't think I would recommend anything smaller than this one, the 130 horsepower diesel powered engine, because obviously you have a lot of torque, 300 newton meters from 1750 RPM. And there are some beautiful cows. Wow, they're really beautiful. Oh my god. Over there. I don't think the smaller engine would cope with the weight, because the weight of this one is 1735 kilograms, plus obviously passengers and cargo, so it would go easily over 2 tons. And I wouldn't want to drive the smallest engine, which is something like 110 horsepower. I'm actually gonna write it in the below. Now, one negative point, as I mentioned, always on that first road is cruise control starts only at 40 kilometers per hour, which is something I really don't like, because 40 is too fast to drive in the 30 zone, which we have here. And obviously, I know a lot of people say, oh, who uses cruise control in a 30 kilometer per hour zone? I do, because when I have cruise control, I can take my foot off the gas already and have it hovering over the brakes, which is obviously safer than switching from gas onto the brake. Either way, here we have as well the emergency stop system, which works from 5 kilometers per hour. We have the distance measuring as well, which will engage the brakes just in case you will not do that. However, it's not an adaptive cruise control that keeps the speed or the distance and a safe distance when you're driving onto the highway. So we have a cruise control, a speed limiter, however only from 40 kilometers per hour. Now, because of the torque, car is pretty good. I'm not quite sure how the small petrol engine would behave. I really would go for diesel rather than the petrol one. Again, we have the Euro 60 temp emission standard, which is safe enough for the next couple of years until someone changes the laws again. Now, one big negative point for me is halogen lights. I don't know why they still make this in 2019. Please, every car manufacturer in this world, stop building this old school halogen lights. First of all, they don't look good. Second of all, they don't give you the same light as LED or xenon. Point. There's nothing you can argue about with this. Now, what I like is the 6-speed manual works well. First one, a little bit sometimes difficult to get in, but it works. It's not that bad. What do we have here? They changed the traffic. It was a round turn before. Now again it's a normal crossing. We go onto the highway, so let's do the torque. 80, 90 and 100. However, you don't really need to rev it that high because you have 300 Nm for 1050 RPM. Another point that I do not like is, well, do not like, it's like, for me personally, it's waste of space here. If I put this up, there's so much space here, I can put a bag here or whatever, but why? Something built in with the compartment, with a more smart compartment, like this is really cool. Why they haven't done anything here? It's like they forgot about it. They said, okay, we've done this really cool, so no one will care about this. Actually, I do. What I like is we have this memory function of the cruise control, so I tap in twice, and then actually it would take the speed that is set from the sign recognition, because we have a camera built in here and it works from the sign recognition. However, be careful, if you drive 100, it becomes the 80 zone, then you press the memory. Obviously it takes some time for the system to slow down. If there will be a speed camera right after, and in Germany they like to do this shit, then you're gonna have a very expensive picture for your Instagram account or for your Facebook account or whatever. Now, the charging of the phone without cable is great. However, my phone got really warm. Not quite sure if this is a problem with the iPhone or if this is with any phone. Mine was a little bit warm. We have a shift gear indicator to shift. Now we have someone calling. Maybe I would recommend the 8-speed automatic gearbox just to make it so much easier to not worry about this shifting. However, one great thing about the cruise control is that even though it's a manual gearbox, if you have the cruise control engaged, for example on the highway, and you have to shift down, it actually will remember the speed that you set and continue with the cruise control even after you changed gears, which is a really nice thing to do, you know. I know a lot of cars which have cruise control. When you change gears, so basically you engage the clutch, the cruise control goes off. Here it stays on, and once the new gear is in, it will continue to the speed that you set it before. Love that point. Now, what I loved as well is how versatile this car is. Just the boot itself, it's so versatile, with the 2-floor setup that you can open just the glass rather than the whole gate or tailgate. We have that thing here, which is really great. I love that. We have this little mirror here for your kids, which is great. Though that part here actually obstructs the view a little bit, so you don't see the heads of the kids if they are a little bit taller. Depends on if you how tall your kids are, basically. But for baby seats it will work, so no problem. I love that you can fold this seat flat. You can fold the second row flat as well, so you have a really versatile car, which I guess you could use for both family and business, depends on what kind of business you have. The look of the car, well, you have to like it or not. I mean, this is everyone's personal taste. I do like the air bumps. I like this orange kind of color dots on the car, which is great. I like the color itself. What I do not like is this kind of green here. I don't know, it doesn't fit. On the seats it's okay, but here it's kind of weird, I have to say. Head-up display is something great, which helps with safety as well. We have a lane departure assistant, active one. We have blind spot assistant, which is great. We have a reverse camera as well, which kind of produces a 360-degree picture. However, actually, let me show you how it works. Let's do this in the shade so you can see actually something. Now, what it does is, when you engage reverse gear, actually it will film the car, and you have to first drive backwards, and then you have kind of a 360-degree picture. You can see that, right? But it's not a real one, to be honest. Now, continue driving. Now, what I like as well is the 230-volt plug, power plug, which is on the passenger side here. Which is great. I love this kind of roof storage in the back, which you can access from either the rear seats with the sliding doors, or when you can basically open it up from the boot and put toys and stuff inside there, which is really great. And again, you have quite a lot of storage here. We have a USB port here inside, which is actually integrated. So if you wouldn't know, I didn't know in the beginning. I actually just touch everything in the car when I do the test, and I open it up because I was thinking, okay, where the hell is the USB port? There's no USB port. Then I found one here, which is very small, and I found another one in there. However, for a family car which can be equipped with up to 7 seats, only 2 USB ports in the front is not enough. Yes, you have a 12-volt power socket over there, you have another one here, but then fiddling the cables through here, not so great. I would love to see at least 3 USB ports there, and if it's equipped as a 7-seater, another 2 in the third row. But okay. Fuel consumption is great. 4.2 liters was the lowest, and I was driving 90-ish to 100. I wasn't even driving the really economical run with 80, so I could go maybe below 4 liters. With a C4 Cactus, I was actually able to achieve fuel consumption figures which were below 4 liters. Just check the video, is linked on the top right. Now, start-stop system, you have to be on the brakes, gear disengaged, not on the clutch. The moment you push the clutch or you step on the clutch, it will engage the gear again. And overall, space-wise, it's great. Tons of space on top, basically over the head, here as well. I do like this car. I think it's great. Family car. Obviously, I think I would recommend to go for the 7-seater, so for the XL. Depends on how much space you have in your garage or where you live, and what the point of the car is for you, what you need it for. But even if I could go for M, the shorter one, the 4.40 m, I still think I would go for the 7-seat configuration, just in case one day you want to sell the car in 3, 5, 7, 10 years, whatever. The chances of someone looking for a car that has 7 seats might have made it easier to actually sell the car, because it's even more versatile, to be honest, right? I would say that's pretty much it. Now we have to be a bit careful because school is closing and all the kids are coming out. It drives pretty well, it's very comfortable. Engine choice, do go for the 130 horsepower one. I would not recommend the petrol, just because you would have much less torque available. And I would actually go for the automatic, I think, just to make it more comfortable. Even this is not bad at all. I drove up the hill yesterday over the Berlingo to Lucerne, and it worked pretty well. You can drive it pretty lazy, you don't have to shift much. Even though it tells me at 80 kilometers an hour in 6th gear on the highway to shift down to 5th gear, it does it without any promise, so you shouldn't worry about anything. Alright, so that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Please just hit the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, because that would help me to basically rate the channel a little bit higher, and would which will allow me as well, hopefully, to provide more videos for you and basically get more cars with more manufacturers to keep this channel up and running. So thanks a lot. Thank you very much, Garage Goldswil AG in Ringenberg, who gave me this car, and I wish you a great day, happiness, and see you next time. Cheers, bye.